Welcome to the first lesson in Session 8 on special right triangles. There are two special right triangles we need to be familiar with. The 45-45-90 triangle, also known as an isosceles right triangle, and the 30-60-90 triangle. The triangles are classified as special by their ability to yield exact answers instead of decimal approximations when dealing with trigonomic functions. In a 45-45-90 triangle, the legs are equal to 1, Pythagorean theorem would tell us that the value of the hypotenuse would be equal to the square root of 2. So the hypotenuse is always square root of 2 times as long as the legs. Here we have two examples of 45-45-90 triangles. In the first one, all we're given is the two angles of 45 and 45 degrees. Knowing that the interior angles of a triangle add to 180 allows us to conclude that the missing angle is 90 degrees, giving us a 45-45-90 triangle. Understanding first that the legs of a 45-45-90 degree triangle are congruent gives us the length of the other leg, which has to be congruent, which is 5 inches. And the hypotenuse of a 45-45-90 triangle is root 2 times as long as the legs. So if a 45-45-90 triangle has legs of 5 inches, then the hypotenuse would have to be equal to 5 root 2 inches. In the next example, we're given a 45-45-90 triangle with hypotenuse of 5 inches. To find the length of the congruent legs, we have to divide the hypotenuse by the square root of 2, and then rationalize the denominator. So we take 5 and divide it by the square root of 2, multiply top and bottom by the square root of 2 to rationalize the denominator, and when we multiply straight across, we get an answer of 5 root 2 over 2 inches. So in a 45-45-90 triangle with a hypotenuse equal to 5, its legs, the congruent legs, would be equal to 5 root 2 over 2 inches. Lastly, we have a 30-60-90 triangle. If the short leg of a 30-60-90 triangle is equal to 1, then the longer leg is equal to the square root of 3, and the hypotenuse would be equal to 2. So the leg that's opposite of the 30-degree angle is 1. The leg that's opposite the 60-degree angle is the square root of 3. The leg that the hypotenuse opposite of the 90-degree angle is 2. So in our example, we have a 30-60-90 triangle with a hypotenuse of 8. The hypotenuse is always twice as long as the short leg. So in order to find the short leg, I take the hypotenuse and divide it by 2, giving us a length of 4. So if the hypotenuse of a 30-60-90 triangle is 8, its short leg would have to be equal to 4. Next, I multiply the short leg times the square root of 3, and that produces the length of the long leg. 4 times the square root of 3 is 4 root 3. So in a 30-60-90 triangle that has a hypotenuse of 8, the short leg would be equal to 4, and the long leg would be equal to 4 root 3. That wraps up our lesson. Please email us if you have any questions. Good luck on the quiz.